Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Tana, and today we're going to make a interactive card with the Unicorns and Glitter stamp set from MFT. Now I wanted to show you guys how I colored the hair on these cute little girls. That first one looks really splotchy and I couldn't figure out why until I later realized that I was using Bristol Smooth for that one and not Nina. So this I made sure is Nina, and I used two colors that will make a new color when they're blended. Or at least that was the hope. So here I'm using blue and yellow to make green, and I'm flicking them towards each other so that when they meet in the middle, they make a new color. And that's how I did their hair. This one was blue and yellow. I did one with pink and blue because they turn into purple. They turned out pretty cool, and you'll see them all at some point this month because I had some that I colored before the video. So some other things we're going to use are the Heffy Doodle Cloudy Skies stencil, the Heffy Doodle More Strips of Ease. We're going to use that for interactive parts to our card. And I can't remember the name of them, but they're stitched puffy cloud dies, edge dies from Heffy Doodle. I will put them in the description box below. You guys have already seen me do this. So I'm not going to show you the whole thing. It's a similar background to one I've done recently, but with different colors. Peacock feathers and I believe Salty Ocean, but that might be Mermaid Lagoon, that second one. I can't remember. And then I used the Rainbow Dynamic from MFT. That will also, the official name will be down below. And I used colored cardstock at first and then got the idea to use the Deco foil, shattered glass foil. So I put that on the black toner sheets that you can get a pack of 3 of, and then cut that out with the die. But I also put that on a piece of cardstock so it would be a little bit sturdier when I glued it to the card panel. I cut those Heffy Doodle Cloud Edge dies out of Lawn Fawn Pixie Dust glitter cardstock. And then that rectangle I just showed you, that was with that first rectangle that I have there from the More Strips of Ease, and that was 65-pound cardstock. So I glued 5 of those together so that our pull lever would be sturdy. Now I'm taking the sentiment from the stamp set that says "You are straight up magic," and I'm splitting it onto two different sentiment strips. You are on the smaller one, and then straight up on the larger one. And I'm using Pixie Dust by Catherine Pooler as the ink and embossing it with clear embossing powder. And I popped them up with small skinny pieces of foam tape, but I put glue on them as well to make sure that they stay in place. So now we're going to start putting our interactive card together. I drew a line there for that first layer of clouds that will be flat to my card front, and I'm just going to glue that in place. And then I took the second biggest slot die from the More Strips of Ease, and I cut 2 slots into my cloud for the acetate. Now this is like acetate from stamp set packaging. You don't want the stiffer kind, you want the softer kind. I also used the V, those are used to make fishtails in your banners, but I used it for the hole for my pull lever instead of using like a circle die. Now, I know I'm going kind of fast here, but you put the acetate in. I'm going to show you that in a minute. I skipped ahead because I ended up doing something that didn't work out. You want a collar around your pull lever after it's attached to your acetate, but you don't want it too tight. So you want to fold it to make sure that it fits around and keeps it sturdy and where it's supposed to be, but not so tight that the pull lever won't move back and forth. So now you're going to see me put the acetate in, and you want to use double-sided tape for that. I don't know how this would work with wet glue, so I didn't try it. And you're going to wrap it around so that it forms a circle, a loop of acetate. Not too tight, the same as the collar, but loose enough for it to move freely around and inside of those 2 slots. If you make it too loose, whatever images you attach to it are going to flop around and not move correctly on your card. So you got to practice a couple times. I'll tell you about it later, but I made an index card and practiced before I made the actual card. So now I'm attaching the lever, and for it to pull, the most amount of movement, you want to attach it where your tape is for your acetate. you know, that's keeping your acetate attached, and farther away from the opening slot for the lever. That'll give you the most pull leverage. I'm so bad at explaining this. I will make sure that I link the video for interactive cards, the Pear Blossom Press. It's a whole bunch of tutorials on how to make interactive cards, and that's how I learned how to do this. Now I'm using thicker acetate and attaching my images that I want to move to the thicker acetate. Now I left the piece of acetate longer so that I could trim them down to the size I wanted. Now I'm placing foam tape around that cloud that's holding my interactive lever. You're going to need the foam tape, but you only need a single layer. But you want to make sure you don't put the foam anywhere that's going to impede you pulling the lever or your images moving. So you'll see as I attach my images that I'm making sure as I go along that they will still move freely back and forth. Now I'm going to have images going in two different directions. So my cat and my dog, I'm going to put the tape on the front of their acetate, and I'm going to attach them on the front loop of acetate from behind, if you get what I'm saying. So the front loop of the acetate on the front of the cloud, but so that their stick of acetate is behind the loop. And then the little girl, at first I did it backwards, but she is supposed to have tape on the back of her acetate, and she will be slid in like that on the back of the cloud so that she moves back and forth on the acetate loop. And it sounds confusing because the first time you do this, it's easier if it's just an index card with some levers so that you can see where everything goes. So I will definitely link that video below. But it's so easy to put together once you practice it one time. And Amanda over at Pear Blossom Press has a lot of cool ideas for interactive cards and easy ways. She has easy tutorials. So then I'm going to put that down on the card front with its one layer of foam tape. And of course we have to finish our sentiment. You are straight up. So I'm going to cut off, this is a Hefty Doodle die cut that says magical. So I cut off the AL, and we're just going to glue that to the front layer of clouds because we want to cover up that acetate loop that our images are moving on. I took a piece of that pixie dust glitter cardstock and glued it to the end of my lever so that you didn't just see purple and it kind of blends in with the card. And then I took the little interactive stamp set from MFT and stamped Pull Me on it with a little arrow. And that glitter cardstock didn't stamp out too well, so I went over it with my Memento pen, my black Memento marker. And now I'm just going to put some, I did put another layer of foam tape on this cloud just to make sure my loop runs easily behind it. And it's just one thin skinny layer though. And if you're going to use glue on top of your foam tape like I do, just don't put too much because you don't want it getting on your acetate loop and preventing it from moving. Hopefully I get better explaining these interactive videos. This is the first time I'm really explaining an interactive card like this, so I will practice, you guys, I promise. Don't forget your tittle. And that's it, guys. We have our moving card. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that you guys come back to see the video, the next video for this stamp set coming up later this month. And I hope you're all staying safe, staying at home, and washing your hands. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye for now.